Once upon a time, a group of friends went on a boat trip. Their names were Kevin, Sarah, Mike, and Emily. They were excited and happy, laughing and talking as the boat moved across the sea. The water was calm, and the sun was bright. Suddenly, dark clouds appeared in the sky, and a strong wind began to blow. The boat shook, and big waves crashed against it. Kevin tried to steer the boat, but the storm was too powerful. Kevin said, "Hold on tight. This storm is getting worse." The friends grabbed the sides of the boat, their faces filled with fear. The waves grew taller, crashing into the boat. They felt cold and wet as water splashed over them. Lightning flashed across the sky, and thunder roared loudly. Sarah screamed, "What's happening? Are we going to be okay?" But no one could answer. They could only hope the storm would end soon. After what felt like hours, the storm finally passed. The waves calmed, and the clouds cleared. The friends looked around, relieved that they had survived. But then they noticed something strange. They were near an island they had never seen before. Emily asked, "Where are we? I don't remember any islands on the map." Mike, who usually knew a lot about places, looked confused. He said, "I don't know. This island wasn't supposed to be here." They decided to go ashore. Kevin anchored the boat close to the beach, and they climbed out. The sand was soft under their feet, and the air was warm. Tall, green trees grew all around, with bright, colorful flowers. Kevin looked around and said, "Well, maybe we can rest here for a bit. Let's explore the island." The friends nodded. They were tired and hungry, but curious too. They wanted to know more about this strange place. They walked into the trees, following a small path. Birds sang in the branches, and insects buzzed around them. Sarah looked at a strange flower and said, "Look at this. I've never seen flowers like these before." Emily smiled and replied, "It's so beautiful here. But we should be careful. We don't know what's on this island." They continued walking, deeper into the jungle. The trees grew thicker, and the path became harder to see. After a while, they came to a clearing with a small pond. The water was clear, and they could see fish swimming below the surface. Mike knelt down and said, "I'm so thirsty. I'll drink some water." But Emily stopped him. She said, "Wait. We don't know if the water is safe." Kevin agreed and said, "Let's find food and water that we know is safe. Maybe there are coconuts or fruit nearby." They looked around and soon found some coconut trees. Kevin climbed one and threw down a few coconuts. They opened them and drank the fresh coconut water. It was sweet and refreshing, and it helped them feel stronger. After resting, they continued exploring. They wanted to find a way to signal for help or a way to get back home. As they walked, they heard a strange noise. Sarah whispered, "Did you hear that?" Everyone stopped and listened. There was a rustling sound coming from the bushes nearby. Suddenly, a small animal jumped out. It looked like a monkey, but it had bright green fur and a long, curly tail. Mike laughed and said, "Wow! I've never seen a monkey like that." The monkey looked at them, tilting its head curiously. Then, it made a high-pitched sound and ran away into the jungle. The friends laughed, but they were also a little worried. Emily said, "This island is really strange. I wonder what else is here." They continued walking until they reached a large stone structure. It looked like a temple, with tall columns and carvings on the walls. The carvings showed pictures of animals, people, and strange symbols. Kevin touched the stone wall and said, "This place must be very old. I wonder who built it." Sarah looked around and said, "Maybe there were people here a long time ago. But where are they now?" They decided to go inside the temple. The air was cool and quiet, and their footsteps echoed as they walked. Inside, they saw statues and old pottery. In the center of the temple, they found a large stone table with strange symbols carved on it. Mike looked at the symbols and said, "I wish I could read these. Maybe it's a message." Emily shivered and said, "I don't like this place. It feels strange. Maybe we should leave." But Kevin was curious. He looked at the table and saw a small, shining stone in the center. It was a deep blue color, and it sparkled in the light. Kevin picked up the stone and said, "Look at this. It's beautiful. Maybe it's valuable." Suddenly, the ground shook, and a loud noise filled the temple. The friends looked around in panic. Sarah screamed, "What's happening? Let's get out of here." They ran out of the temple, stumbling as the ground shook beneath them. When they were outside, the shaking stopped. They caught their breath and looked back at the temple. Emily said, "What was that? Did we do something wrong?" Kevin looked at the stone in his hand and said, "Maybe it's because of this. Maybe this stone is important." Mike shrugged and said, "Maybe we should put it back." But Kevin shook his head and said, "No, let's keep it. It might help us somehow." They decided to leave the temple and find a safe place to spend the night. As they walked, they noticed the sky turning dark. They found a small cave near the beach and decided to rest there. Inside the cave, they made a small fire to keep warm. They sat around it, feeling a little safer with the light. Sarah said, "This island is really strange. Do you think we'll be able to leave?" Kevin nodded confidently and said, "We'll find a way. We just need to keep exploring." They talked for a while, sharing their fears and hopes. Slowly, they fell asleep, listening to the sound of the waves outside. The next morning, they woke up early and decided to keep exploring. They wanted to find a way to contact someone for help. As they walked, they noticed something strange: footprints in the sand. Emily pointed at them and said, "Look, someone else has been here." They followed the footprints, feeling both excited and nervous. The footprints led them to a small hut made of wood and leaves. It looked old and abandoned. Mike said, "Maybe someone lived here before. Let's look inside." They entered the hut and found some old tools, a small fire pit, and some dried food. They also found a book with strange writing inside. Kevin opened the book and said, "I can't read this. It's in another language." Emily looked at it and said, "Maybe it's from the people who lived here a long time ago." They decided to take the book and the tools with them. They thought they might be useful. As they left the hut, they heard a noise behind them. They turned around and saw the green monkey again. This time, it was holding a fruit and watching them closely. Kevin laughed and said, "Hello again, little monkey." The monkey made a happy sound and threw the fruit toward them. It seemed friendly, and the friends felt a little less afraid. Mike picked up the fruit and said, "Thank you, little guy." The monkey jumped up and down, making more happy sounds. It then ran off into the jungle, disappearing into the trees. The friends continued exploring, feeling more hopeful. They knew they had to find a way to get home, but at least they weren't alone. As the sun began to set, they returned to the beach. They looked out at the sea, wondering if anyone would come to rescue them. Sarah sighed and said, "I hope someone finds us soon." Kevin put his arm around her and said, "Don't worry. We'll find a way home." They sat on the beach, watching the waves and talking about their plans. They knew they had to stay strong and keep exploring. This island was mysterious and strange, but they were determined to survive. And maybe, just maybe, the stone Kevin had found in the temple held the key to their escape. That's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, every day, we upload new educational videos and stories to keep your learning journey fun and engaging. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join us on this adventure toward mastering English. See you tomorrow.